Tuesday. It's gonna be Thursday when this video is up, or nearly so. But that's because last Tuesday was a celebration in my country, and no, it had nothing to do with the 4th, because it wasn't the 4th, it was the 5th. And it had nothing to do with Star Wars in this specific case either, because that's not a national celebration in my country, unfortunately. It was something else. We celebrate our liberation from the Nazi regime of like 70 years ago, and that's not something you can usually get away with not celebrating. But anyway, here it is, late but still present. And if you're still watching this, thank you very much. And I got some suggestions earlier that I actually still commentate instead of just play music. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be telling you a bit more about how I do this sort of stuff, because it does look quite awesome, and I can imagine how people would want to know how I do this. So first up, the default brush I use for almost everything is BB. That stands for Blend Ball, as Voxel Sniper can clearly show you. And it's a very nice brush that, when you use the arrow on, it's a very powerful melt. Well, smooth, a very powerful smooth. And when you use the gunpowder, it's a bit of its own thing. It's a sort of extruding thing. And I find that that is very useful for making terrain look very nice. If you have a, say, a pillar like this and you want it to be a bit thicker, all you need to do is this, and smooth it out again, and boom, it's thicker. There you go. Easy peasy. So yeah, to continue on, I was working on this pillar here, and I'm still thinking on what I'll actually be doing with this. I might make it into, say, a Hunger Games map, though that would require a lot of paths. I might also make it into something else, but to be perfectly honest, I really have no idea what to do with it. And it's just, at this point, more of an exercise in terraforming than it is anything else. If you have any ideas on what to do with it, please let me know. I'm very interested in anything you might have to say on this topic. Not on other things such as advertising your own channel, though that might be kind of pointless, seeing as my channel is not the kind that advertising would be very useful in, considering I have a total of, I think, less than 10 subscribers, and I'm lucky to get more than 20 views on a video. So yeah, anyway, to get on with it, oh no, the pillar, I lost track of it again. Let's fast speed a bit more. I'm going to set to 10 because 10 is just a bit too much. Just as the brush size, 10 is a bit on the large side. But maybe I should upload it. Yes, that's much better. So brush size 10 is perfect. The fly speed 10 is a bit too much for smaller work like this. Right now I think it's time to start making a long path in one direction. Just make that into a cord of pillars. Now this is one thing that the blend ball brush is not good for, and that's making long paths, because as you can see it flattens the top, the front part a lot. So I'll be changing to a normal ball and changing it back to size 7, which I think is big enough as a base. So yeah, there's that. That and that, and one in the middle here to finish it off. So, and we're switching back to blend ball to give it more natural shapes and fatten it up. Because if I was to use the melt brush on this, and the melt, yeah, the melt, if I was to be using the melt brush on this, it would look very different, as you can obviously see. that does not work. It only expands or contracts what it looks like. So blend ball is definitely the one you want on most terraforming. Now I'm not worried about this dirt here because I'll be naturalizing the entire thing anyway. And then I'll be changing the lowest layer to sand or something and then setting a lot of water around here. Or I'm gonna make a cave because I'm at level 50 something. So plenty of space for caves. I think that I'll connect this part over here with that once I'm done with this. And this border here is the outer limit. And I'm approaching a bit of being done. Well, no, not quite. There's lots of space still, but it is taking very nice shape. So maybe in a few more episodes we'll be done with the basic terraforming and we can start doing a bit more interesting things, such as deciding on a color palette for each area, adding in smaller details, trees, and start planning out structures. And then it won't be Terraforming Tuesday anymore, it will be other things. But that's still some way off, so it's no use speculating about it too much. But yeah, what I'm doing right now is just making these pillars look flowing and curved, and all in all make it look like it was naturally formed, because that's what you want terraforming to look like, even though some of this does not look very much like it was naturally formed. More like it was architected by some sort of god, which I am not, but it would look like it was done that way. And technically, with creative powers and voxel sniper and world edit, you are sort of a god in your world, but that's not the point. No, that's not the point. What to do next? So, next step. Now that I've decided what to do with this section, is this almost done yet? Excuse me. Got something stuck in my throat. Sometimes you get that feeling in your throat that there's something in there and then your voice changes a little and it feels weird, like you can't talk, but you can actually, but your voice would sound very strange and you just have to cough. And that's what just happened. Now, I have no idea how long I'll be making this. I'll probably won't be making it too long, or I'll just be placing some more speeding up time, because my first video I didn't have time sped up because the editor I was using didn't seem to have an option. Then I used another editor I only just remembered I had on my second video, but made it only time-lapse, which I can imagine is kind of boring. So this one will be a combination of the first two, which I think is going to be very interesting, and hopefully it'll be a lot more entertaining than the previous bunch. Now, I've not actually implemented any spikes or anything, because I don't want this terrain to be spiky. I want it to be pillory and flowy. Like this. This is how it should be. Oh, by the way, this was also a place where I should still place a pillar. A place where I should place a pillar. Yeah. So, there we go. There's a pillar. And now it's attached. It's attached on this side as well. And then make a connection here. Make it a bit smaller. And a bit of it here, a bit of it here, a bit of it here. A bit there. A bit of gradual. There's the pillar. That was easy. Yeah, this is really looking like it was some sort of structure, but then made into terrain. This should end up being some sort of bridge, I think? Yeah. It should. Should I add floating islands? No, that's going to be the next layer. That's going to be, this train ends somewhere around 150 somewhat. So that leaves me still about 100 blocks to make floating islands, even though if I make them 100 blocks high, there will not be any space left on top to build anything. But hey, who needs stuff on top of floating islands? Floating islands themselves are plenty good enough. Here. Oh yeah, let's F3 away. Let's set time to do it. There we go. Yes, that's almost done, that's almost done. Right, next up we make this connection. This connection is natural. But nothing like the way this global pump. Filling it out a bit. One pillar should do. There we go. Back to blue and ball. Now, you might be wondering how I come up with all of this, and the answer is I have not the foggiest. I just started on this at some point. I was intending to make it a spawn for a complete the monument map I was planning to do, but since I'm already doing a complete the monument map with my team, Tartarus, Tartarus, important that you keep that in mind. It's not Tartarus as in the Greek hell dimension thing, it's Tartarus as in the Latin name for bull out of him. Yeah, I know, very punny, very punny. But then again, you can't be a Ragegun without being punny. Or at least having an affinity for understanding the world of puns. Now, they don't have to be good puns. Rage himself doesn't have good puns, but they should be punny puns. Definitely. Let's see what we expand this one out to. Yeah, how about we make a bit of a curve? No, it looks pathetic. Oh, come on. Oh, come on! Oh yeah, wait, it was Voxel Snapper, of course. Yeah, I just remembered that I had undone that pillar over there. U20. That works. Alright, still pathetic, but it's gonna have to do. Alright, now we make a very thin pillar. 1, 2, 50. Let's see if it was tall enough. No, it wasn't. Now we add 30. And it still isn't tall enough. That's tall enough. Not quite, but good enough. There we go. Now it's tall enough. Yeah, very thin, tall pillar. What's the point of it, you ask? Same answer, I have not the foggiest. I'm just surfing waves of inspiration that seem to be arriving whenever I record a video like this, and for that exact reason I barely do anything on this outside of videos, which is nice for you of course, because you get to see what I'm doing. Now, as you may notice, I'm trying to master the art of rambling while doing stuff, because otherwise this video would be very boring. Oh, I should not forget to use BL. Something that is not affected by actual thickness, but only by positions. There we go, now it's starting to make more sense. Or maybe not. A bit over there. Over there. Wait. There we go. Let me think. Alright. I think I'll cut that out. So if you're watching this in retrospect, you will have probably noticed that the portion was cut out. But I sneezed and I did other stuff that accompanied that sneeze, such as rubbing my nose, and in general not a pleasant sound to listen to, so I'll be cutting that out, since nothing interesting happened then, other than that sneeze. Yeah, BL is very good for making line, and for making a bit more flat surfaces. Things that BB is not so very good at. That's an interesting idea. I just got a new idea. I'm just learning more advanced Terraforming while I'm doing this, basically. And that's very nice. And I'm sure there's many things yet that I have not been focused about. Oh, that's the wooden eggs. That's not what I want. I said that's not what I want. Sometimes my mouse interprets one action as two actions and just scrolls all the way through, or just clicks twice. Anyway, we're back. Welcome back everybody. And I'll be executing this little part. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to give this pillar a bit of, well, pulsing variation basically. So it's thin in one point and thick in another point. I think that should look very interesting. Now, in case you're wondering what's going to happen to Terraforming Tuesdays once I finish with this, which may happen in somewhere in the next 5 episodes. Well, if this series is still at all interesting, and still at all popular, which depends entirely on the curve of my views and subscribers and people interested in this, I'll start looking at pictures and trying to recreate those. So, because there's a lot of very cool artists out there that are very good at making terrain in actual artistic programs that are not Minecraft, such as Photoshop. And, well, Lentbreach, who I follow on Twitter, has provided me with a steady supply of them, well, me and all the rest of his followers. And that, in my opinion, is very useful because there's a lot of inspiration coming from that. And I think that from the Deep in the Dark people that I followed just from the pictures he provided, I think we've got several years worth of Terraforming Tuesdays. And if I start adding in Thursdays, it's still going to be years. So that's good. Yeah, this looks very interesting. And I'm not sure what to do with it. But let's just start with more pillars. Again, making super thin. There we go. A bit too high. And I'll be switching to the 30 length. Yeah, more pillars happening is always good. As you can tell, I love these. Now, somewhere today, at the moment I'm recording this, I will also be recording a new series, which is going to be a build tutorial series. Because there's lots of them out there, but none of them go very far beyond either the basics or beyond making specific things. And I really want to make one that covers everything, that once you watch it you cannot help but become a good builder unless you're actively trying not to. And that series will be done with OJ Pixel, one of my team members who is the founder of Dark Towers actually, even though Kiraxu is now the leader. And he asked me to help him learn how to build, and I saw it as a perfect opportunity to start a YouTube series. There, that's all. Yeah, not too high, excellent. Perfect. Perfect. But yeah, that's the next thing I'll be doing. I'll be looking at, I'll be doing that series, and in the continuation of this series I'll just be terraforming out of inspirational pictures. And eventually you should see all of my terraforming on my Planet Minecraft account, which will show every bit of terraforming I do from now on. Or every bit of finished terraforming, that is. There we go. Yeah, that fits perfectly again. This all looks very interesting. I have no idea what I'll end up doing with this. But hey, who cares? I'm pretty sure it's gonna look fantastic when it's all done. I mean, look at it. Look at it. It looks so awesome from above. And it's just stone. Imagine what it looks like when it's fully terraformed with natural eyes and all that stuff in it. It's gonna look absolutely awesome. Let's see what happens if I drink some milk and turn off my night vision. Very fancy. It's starting to look more and more like fantasy terrain and not actual, somewhat realistic terrain that could possibly exist in some strange universe. Then again, if we're talking about strange universes, this might exist just as much. What should I do with this? I should leave some space for some god trees. Yes, that's what I should do. This is already for... This is good enough for a big tree. Not for god tree. God trees are the kind that are like 100 blocks high or more. And I definitely want to be making some of those. Let's increase my brush size again. Because I've noticed I've been working with a quite small one the last while. Because of that thing I was doing here. Which I still think looks quite interesting. But a bigger brush size is definitely desirable. And there we go, that part is there, that part is there. Let's figure that up at the top. But yeah, anybody watching this, please tell me what you think I could do better in future episodes, and any other series you would like me to do, with either Vox Sniper, World Edit, building in general, anything creative, or possibly even survival, though that will probably end up with me sucking at it, because, well, I'm not really the survival type. Last time I did any sort of serious survival was, I think, 1.5 years ago, when I was doing a Tekkit Classic survival thing by myself, and I spent way too much time on it. Like, the amount of time that you think that fails you in school, basically. Though I did end up starting an education program, but let's not go into that. Basically, let's get my Netflix to work. Yes, that's my in-game name. It's of no consequence because I don't intend to change it anytime soon, so it doesn't really matter if you know it. Except that you might run into me on some creative servers, but there's some theory of Vortex, which exists right now. I'm not going to advertise for it because that would just be pathetic. But basically, some theory of Vortex, Avion, you might encounter me there or you might not. Yeah, I think I might. I could also send this in as a terraforming map to Rage Gaming Videos, of course, for his map extravaganza that he does with Generation Hollow. But that would be a very poor soul use. That would be something that I would do anyway, regardless of what I use this for. So I might still need to figure. So yeah, once again, ideas for what to do with this are very welcome. Any inspiration you can provide me with is always very welcome. And I think this is about time for the end, because otherwise my hard drive is going to be full again, because Deck Story is very bad with spatial effectiveness. It eats up your hard drive space like a starved rabbit in a barrel of carrots. Oh my god, that was the most clumsy metaphor I've ever... No, that's an analogy. Most clumsy analogy I've ever done. Seriously, I need to get better at those. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. This sums it up. We've done quite a bunch of things. And I'll be seeing you in the next episode. And if I get more than 2 comments / likes, or basically any amount of serious interest, I might consider doing 2 of these a week. Because this one's going to be out on Thursday anyway. So if you enjoyed, feel free to like. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. If you want to see more, subscribe and follow me on Twitter. And goodbye everyone, see you next video.